Okay, we're going to start solving multi-step inequalities. So remember, whatever you do to one side, you do the opposite. And when you multiply or divide by negative, then you have to flip the inequality. All right, so solve for t. So the opposite of negative 5 is a plus 5. So negative 7t is greater than or equal to negative 14. Now, the opposite of multiplying is to divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 7. Now, since I'm dividing by negative 7, I have to flip that inequality. So t is less than or equal to positive 2. That's my answer. On number 2, move that negative 7 over, so that's a positive 7. So 5x is less than 25, less than or equal to 20. Oh, that one does not have it. It's less than 25. Now, the opposite of multiplying is to divide, so I'm going to divide by 5. So x, and it is not a negative, so I do not flip it. So x is less than 5. On part 2, even though the variable is on the other side, you do the exact same thing. So negative 8 needs to go the other side, and that becomes a plus 8. I'm going to write that underneath. So 13 plus 8 is 21, is greater than negative a. Now that's like saying negative 1a. The opposite of multiplying is to divide by negative 1. So negative 21, since I am dividing by negative, I have to flip that inequality. So less than, and that would be a. So negative 21 is less than a. On number 4, I need to move negative 9 to the other side, so that's a positive 9. So negative 16 is less than or equal to negative 4b. The opposite of multiplying by negative 4 is to divide by negative 4. Now you are dividing by negative, so that means you've got to flip your inequality. So 4 is greater than or equal to b, and that's your answer. On number 5, you want the variables on the left. So if it's a variable, it's going to stay. And this variable, 6u, has to move over there. So 6u becomes a negative 6u, and that goes away. And you want the non-variables on the right, so that negative 6 becomes a positive 6. Okay? So 4u minus 6u is negative 2u, greater than or equal to negative 20 plus 6 is negative 14. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. So you're going to divide by negative 2. So u, and when you divide by negative, okay, when you divide by negative, you have to flip that inequality. So u is less than or equal to 7, and that's your answer. On number 6, remember that you want the variables on this side, so this 3r needs to move over here. Okay, so 3r becomes negative 3r. And that 8 does not belong, so he doesn't have an r, so he goes to the other side, that's minus 8. Okay, so 15 minus 3r is 12r is greater than negative 36, greater than or equal to, sorry, there's a equal to sign there. And the opposite of multiplying is to divide, so I'm going to divide by 12. Now I am not dividing by negative, so my inequality does not change. R is greater than or equal to negative 3. On number 7, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to look for like terms. On the left side, 4u and 6u are the same. So I'm going to combine those together. That's 10u minus 15 is greater than or equal to 20. Now I want to solve just like I did earlier. So move the 15, becomes a positive 15. 10u is greater than or equal to 35. The opposite of multiplying is to divide, so you divide by 10. So u is greater than or equal to, now when you divide, you're going to get 7 over 2. Sometimes they will have 7 over 2, and sometimes they will have it as a decimal. So hit Control Enter, and it will change it to 3.5. So you can either leave it as a fraction or change it to a decimal. On number 8, look for like terms. The r's are the same. Remember, that's the same thing as saying negative 1r, negative 1r. So that's negative 2r. This right here is a plus 8 is greater than 28. The opposite of adding 8 is to subtract 8. So negative 2r is greater than 20. The opposite of multiplying by negative 2 is to divide by negative 2. And any time that you divide by a negative, you have to flip your inequality. So R is less than negative 10. And that's less than, and there's equal to. I gotta bring down that equal to sign. Number 9. The very first thing you're gonna look for is to distribute if there's any parentheses. There's no parentheses on number 9. After that, we look for like terms. 8b and 6b are the same. Negative 1 and negative 7 are the same. 5 and 9 are the same. They have to be on the same side of the equal sign, and then you can combine them. So 8b and 6b, 14b, negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8 greater than, 5 and 9 is 14, and you just bring down the plus 12b. Now after you combine like terms, you want the variables to the left side. So I have a b, this 12b needs to move over, okay? So positive 12 becomes a negative 12b, so that goes away. Negative 8 becomes a positive 8 when he moves to the other side and join 14. So 14 minus 12 is 2b, is greater than 22. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. Since it's a positive, I do not change my symbol. So b is greater than 11. Number 10, I have parentheses first. I have to do that. Okay, so make sure you multiply times both. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12x plus 3 greater than. Bring down your 6. And then on this is a negative 3 times x. So negative 3x and a negative 3 times a negative 1, which is a positive 3. A lot of you missed that, so be careful. On like terms, 24 and 3 are the same, 6 and 3 are the same on the right. So 24 plus 3 is 27 minus 12x is greater than 6 plus 3 is 9 minus 3x. Now you want your variables on the left, so this negative 3x needs to move over. Negative 3x becomes positive 3x, and positive 27 becomes negative 27. So negative 12 plus 3 is negative 9x, is greater than negative 18. The opposite of multiplying is to divide by negative 9. You divide by the exact same thing. And since I'm dividing by negative, I have to flip my inequality. So x is less than 2. Less than, again, sorry, these had equal sign and mine didn't carry very well. Sorry, that equal sign, you just bring it on down. Now we are going to look at applications. 3 application problems. So on number 11, Hannah is going bowling with friends. To bowl, it costs $8 to rent shoes plus 3 per game. Remember, per is the times. Okay, so I have 8 plus 3 times G. How many games can she play if she wants to spend no more than is less than or equal to? So less than or equal to 20. They sent her to prime time with $20. That's all she has. She can't go over 20. So that's why it's less than or equal to 20. Now we're going to solve. So the opposite of 8 is minus 8. So 3g is less than or equal to 12. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. And I am not dividing by negative, so I do not change. So Hannah can play 4 games or less. You know, if she's having a great time, she can play 4 games. If bowling is not her thing, she broke a nail, or she hurt herself, or just didn't feel very successful in it, she may just want to play 1 or 2 games, but she can play up to 4 games. Savannah is saving money to buy a Christmas gift for a boyfriend. She has 30 saved, so that means she starts out with 30. That's her initial amount. That's her y-intercept. And plans to earn is when you add money, 15 an hour. That's the same thing as saying 15 each hour, or 15 per hour. So 15 times H, okay? 15 times H, walking dogs. She's going to get $15 an hour walking dogs. How many hours does she need to work to raise at least 75? at least is greater than or equal to. So, you know, if you have to be at least 18 to drive, well, or 16, you get your driver's permit at 16. You have to be at least 16 to drive. Well, she wants at least 75, so she wants $75 or more, okay? So the very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna solve. So the opposite of plus 30 is minus 30. So 15H is greater than or equal to 45. The opposite of multiplying by 15 is to divide by 15. So H is greater than or equal to 3. So Savannah needs to work, needs to walk dogs, that's what she's going to do, walk dogs 3 hours or more. So that's very, very doable. So she could schedule that. You know, if she gets more than 3 hours in, she'll have more money to spend on the Christmas gift, but she wants to at least walk 3 hours. Now, on the last problem, I'll flip back over to the words, you have them, but the Stevens go to the ACU football game. They buy 6 tickets in the press box section for $150 per seat. $150 per seat. So let's look at that, 150 times the number of seats, right? How many tickets are that? 6, so that's 150 times 6. So let's go ahead and multiply that. 150 times 6, that is $900. So they're spending $900 in the press box section. Okay? The tickets in the lower section, they cost 80% of the press box. So 80% of what the press box tickets cost, seats. Okay? So in the lower section, now anytime you have a percent, you have to get rid of the percent sign. So you always move it over 2 places. See how there's 2 zeros? You move it over 2 places. So 1, 2. So that's 0.8 of is times. The press box seats are 150 each. So 80% of that. So 0.8 times 150. So on your calculator, you do 0.8 times 150, and you get 120. So in the press box, the lower section, these are 120 each. Okay? So 120 each in the lower section. That's the cost. Okay? Now, what is the most tickets they could buy in the lower section if they spend no less than $2,000? Okay, so let's look at this. So they are spending a total. They're getting the press box, which was $900, and they're getting the lower section. So that's plus the lower section, and it says what's the most tickets they could get in the lower section. So I want to find out 120 times, let's use L for lower section. If they want to spend, and I meant to put no more than, and I put the wrong word. That should be key, erase that please and put no more than, sorry. No more than. So let's look, no more than is the less than or equal to. So that would be less than or equal to 2,000. Okay, so now we're going to solve. Opposite of adding 900 is to subtract 900. So 120L is less than or equal to 2,000 minus 900 is 1,100. And then the opposite of multiplying by 120 is to divide by 120. So L is less than or equal to 5. So they could buy 5 tickets. And see, this looks like an L. So 5 tickets or less. Okay, 5 tickets or less. So if they just want to buy 4 tickets, that'd be great. They won't go over their limit of 2,000. And that's how you solve multi-step inequalities.